just chasing gold. This game's ours, it's ours to hold. One shot left, one play to run. Make it count under the setting sun. It's game time grind. All or nothing on the line. Push through the pain. Leave it all in the rain. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a brand new episode of Game Time Grind. I'm your host, Ali the Persian. We got Steve and Mystic.
You just know.
Hot mic, Mystic. Hot mic.
Sorry.
What is up, gentlemen? How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, Trying to make sure all the, there's no sound around me type of thing. That was what's going on there. Sorry about that. Gotta make sure everything's good. How y'all doing tonight?
Good, man. Good. What about you, Steve? How you doing?
I'm doing fucking great. It is a great day.
Yeah, it is. It is a great day. It was a great weekend for me. I'm freaking, rocking and rolling. Yeah, man, we're partying over here a lot lately. It was really exciting to watch this combine, to be honest. We'll definitely get into that. That was really exciting. I want to say from last weekend to this week, it's just been like one thing after another. It's been really good, right? What was it, last week or the week before? We saw a United States beat Canada for, their first gold in since it's been like 46 years, I want to say, right? It's been like 46 years, something like that, right?
Yep, love to see it.
Yeah, so it was an epic game. Overtime, it was great, and you could see even watching that game and everything. I forget the hockey player's name, but his teeth is all broken. He has a bloody lip and everything. That's the type of hockey I love. That if there's not blood on the ice or somebody didn't get punched or something, it's not a hockey game to me. Right. And it was cool to see some old fashioned grit and aggressive violence when it comes to hockey. And I'm going to go ahead and say a hot take. There's some good old fashioned violence that I think that can come from some of these combine players that we're going to talk about today. So I cannot wait to get into that conversation. What about you, Steve? What else you got? Got anything going on?
I mean, outside of a full weekend of going to a hockey game and having to deal with Buffalo, it is what it is. It was a fun weekend for me.
It sounds like a true Dolphin fan there. You always got to deal with Buffalo, huh? Some way or another.
No, man, I spent a lot of the weekend, like you said, watching the combine and enjoying what was definitely interesting for a combine.
Yeah, I mean, that for me, that's kind of where it's at. There was a lot of interesting prospects that performed, and I want to get into that a lot today and talk about, the talent that we're starting to see in college football and stuff. We'll definitely get into those conversations. Real quick, before we jump into the combine, I do have one topic that I just stumbled on today, and I want to kind of talk about it briefly. Mississippi's House or their Congress of their state or whatever, it has either passed or is passing a bill that allows NIL to be tax free.
That's crazy.
Let the arms race begin. That's all I'm going to say when it comes to the NIL. What do you guys think of this? Let me give you some more information about it. It was passed. A new tax bill passed in Mississippi could add a healthy bit of competition in college football NIL arms race. The Mississippi House passed a bill excluding NIL, name, image, and likeness earnings from the state income tax, which could go in effect as soon as next year. The bill now advances to the state Senate. And if it passes, so it still has to go through the Senate. There will be, if it passes there, we'll move into the desk of the governor, Tate Reeves, who could sign it into law. 3 other states passed an NIL bill like the one in Mississippi, include Florida, Texas, and Tennessee. Already don't have state income tax, so that's kind of why, those states already kind of they don't really count because they didn't really have to pass a bill because there is no state income tax in those states. You know what I'm saying? So what do you guys think? You think it's a good thing, bad thing for college?
I mean, it's a good thing. They get to keep more money, correct? Am I understanding that? You don't have to claim NIL money on your taxes. That's kind of crazy.
My question would be, I'm assuming because the state is passing it, it's only at the state level that they don't have to pay taxes. They still have to pay federal, right? I'm assuming on the NIL.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, yeah, that's even better that you don't have to claim it twice. That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess that definitely is better. Look, for me, I'm always going to support more money to players and athletes and stuff. I'm always going to do that. I'm not going to hate on them for getting their money. I do think that NIL has gone to the point where it's so crazy now that I think it doesn't matter what state you're in. Teams will do anything they can or want to get players to come there, right? And I want to say part of me kind of feels like this is starting to become just as bad when NIL was illegal, right? When we didn't pay players, when you had people when we weren't allowed to pay players, I should say, and players were paid, through boosters behind the back and, and other benefits to go along with it. I'm kind of worried we're getting to that point where it's that crazy. Do you think there should be more regulation on NIL to make it fair for everybody? Right. And also, do you think, would there be a different format of NIL that you think is more appropriate?
I think NIL in general, you've had to be very careful with the situation. I think there's already enough factoring in with the money and how it kind of pulls and how it's almost hard to have a team that stays together 2 to 3 years now to even mold to do things long term. It's almost like you got to win right now type of thing. And I feel like this might even just add more to that, It's really one of those things, like I said, you just got to navigate very cautiously. I don't know. I don't know that I want to see too much more being done to it to give them more, unless you're going to find a way to equal it out and have just like a level NIL playing field, if you will, quote unquote, right?
Yeah, definitely. I just the reason I'm saying it could be unfair for other teams outside of the state of Mississippi, or even I don't want to say it's not fair at all, because Mississippi is not the only state that has this type of, I would say, rule. You also have like Texas, Tennessee, and Florida, like I mentioned. But then again, there are schools or programs that are starting to build NFL talent. Like there's been the last couple of years I've talked about Toledo, for example, right? Toledo has state and federal tax, and it can be difficult for them to still be able to pull in some of these talents that they have. And well, it doesn't have to be Toledo; it can be other schools too. I'm just kind of, I kind of want to make it fair for all schools, right? Has a chance at any player, kind of, right? Make it more, not so much about the money, but make it more about the player and the fit that they have with that program, right? Like it used to be. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I kind of miss. Now, all I'm hearing when it comes to NIL is, oh, I want a payday. Well, everybody's getting paydays. Well, I want it in my contract or whatever, or NIL deal, that I don't have to play so many, so many snaps a game, or I heard somebody was saying that now they're negotiating if they have to play in a bowl game or not. You know what I'm saying? That stuff is crazy. The fact that you even allow or want to negotiate that with that player, I would walk away from it. I want players that want to be at my program because they feel like they're going to get the best out of us, as well as we're going to get the best out of them, and we're a good fit. That's the type of program I would want to build, right? So that's why I wonder if these rules with NIL and how crazier and crazier they get, is it hurting the program? Is it not hurting the program? Is it fair for everybody? That's why I ask these questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else, right? There's always gonna be a point where it's either gonna go too far and it's got to be reeled back in. But like NIL alone, once you start allowing it to affect contracts, like we kind of talked about it before, like you need to start thinking about caps then, because now players are going to be able to adjust how they want contracts made up. Well, now you're even at like some teams are going to be able to get even more talent, and other teams or other schools are going to be like, you know what, we're not paying you for you to sit out these many games. So it could be a benefit too. It could be a shock treatment where they stop giving high NIL to these players who want to sit out all these games. They don't want to play bowl games. They only want to play in the playoffs. They only want to play when they're playing Big Ten teams, whatever, right? Where just through a maturation, like they get sieved out. That could end up being a good thing, because I think some of that's starting to bleed into the league, where these kids are taking how NIL works and trying to make it work in the league, and it's just not the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It's not the same. I just think the whole premise of what's going on with college football, and not just college football, but college sports in general, it's really interesting. It's kind of remarkable, but scary at the same time. Is it good for the league? Is it bad for the sport, or whatever? That's, it's going to be really interesting what happens over the next couple of years. You have football teams now in college, and maybe they had this position before and they just didn't really make a thing about it now. But now I'm seeing reports of, oh, this team hired a new GM. And I'm like, when did you ever hear about a GM for college football? Right now, it's like every other team has a GM now. So, and it's run almost like a real professional, franchise. So to me, it's no more collegiate amateur sports anymore. You get what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm at with college football and the state of college sports in general. But I want to end on this topic. That's something we can come back to later in the offseason, talk about the state of NIL, because it's ever changing and developing and whatnot. I do want to get into the big stuff today, gentlemen. But before we do that, everybody at home, I see everybody in the chat, Michael K, Christian Leap. I'm sorry, it's giving me your email names. So if I don't know who you are, I apologize. In addition, hit the like button. That's what I'm asking. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're brand new. If you're on the TFTG side, come over to at 4th and 10U. If you're over on Twitter, come over to YouTube. Come to at 4th and 10U. Subscribe if you're brand new. Turn on the notification bell. We try to do a show every Tuesday, sometimes even twice, even 3 times a week sometimes. So definitely we're trying to build the community up and get the show going. We really appreciate all the support. And if you didn't hear me say it in the beginning, make sure you hit the like button. But yeah, let's get into this. The 2026 Combine. What do you guys think, gentlemen? It was a crazy combine. This honestly was one of the more. I think you said it, Steve. But you know, when we were backstage, you said that it was announced that this was the most athletic draft class or combine that we've had in a long time, right?
In NFL history.
NFL history, yeah. And there was a lot of surprise performances across the board. Bro, I've never seen that many fast receivers in a combine. Like there's usually like 1 or 2 or 3 guys that are like really that fast. This was a whole class of them. It was ridiculous. So I we'll definitely get into that. I want to get into the Sonny Styles performance. Honestly, Sonny Styles, in my opinion, proved that his whole performance that he's a top 5 pick, in my opinion. In fact, I'll argue the only reason he's not the number 1 overall pick based on that performance is the fact that there's a QB named Mendoza that's ahead of him. Right? That's the only reason why he won't be the number 1 overall pick, because that performance was that solid. And if you look at the production that he's given over the past 2 years, and you know it, there's been games where he had, I think at one point he had 100% success rate at tackling. How can you say no to that? You know what I mean? The guy's amazing in coverage, athletic freak. His brother was super fast at the combine. Did you see that picture I shared with him, his dad, and his brother?
Yeah.
His
dad
dad
is a mutant.
Bro, Sonny Styles' dad looks like the Hulk in this photo. Let me see if I can find that photo, because I was just
You know what it reminded me of?
What? Go ahead.
Do you know Amon-Ra St. Brown's dad?
I've never seen his dad, believe it or not, so I don't know.
So I believe he was Mr. Universe. I believe that's what he was. So him and his brother, both obviously in the league, but their dad was Mr. Universe, and I think it was 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, he was jacked.
Yeah, let me share this real quick, because I was just like, what the heck? Pull it up here. There we go. Dude, check this guy out. This is ridiculous. Look at these arms, bro. That's like, I don't know. That looks like as big as my head almost. All I'm saying is that this guy looks like the Hulk. Even Sonny Styles next to him, who's big and you can already see he's ripped and everything, is not even as big as his dad. You know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous.
You can see where he gets the athletic traits from.
Definitely. That's definitely where he gets the traits from. I'm just impressed. He had a solid 40, 11 foot 2 inch long jump. That was awesome. I want to say his vertical jump was 99th percentile. It was like 43 and a half or something like that. I forget what it was. If anybody has that information offhand.
43 and a half, you were on.
Yeah. And overall, his whole performance was solid. I think that's a solid prospect. It's like legitly, he is an athletic freak. Overall, at 11, if he's the guy there, I'm not going to say no to it. I'm not going to say no. That's what I'm going to tell you right now.
Next Gen Stats is saying they're calling him an elite prospect.
There you go. He's elite.
I believe he broke the high jump record for linebackers. I believe he had the longest broad jump of linebackers, and he more definitely, at least of this class, I believe he had the second fastest or the fastest 40 of all the linebackers. And all of this crazy because he's only 21 years old.
Yeah. He's super young still, too. You're absolutely right. It was just really like the whole draft, and then seeing his brother of all people run what, a 4.37 or a 4.39 or something like that. It was ridiculous. I was just like, man.
His brother ran, I believe, a 4.28.
Look, I'm not super high on Lorenzo. Like I don't get me wrong, I like Lorenzo Styles, but he is more of your special teams type of dynamic player. Like he's good. Like, how do I say this? You go look at the tape. He does a lot of things well. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's your number one banging starter day one. You have to draft number one overall pick kind of guy. I don't think he's that at all.
He's a special teams gunner with backup safety developmental prospect.
100%.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I'll give you that. I will say the 4.39 or whatever definitely helped his stock. He might. I'm going to say, what do you have him at? Third round? Is that where you have him? Where do you guys have him at?
Who? His
Lorenzo.
brother?
Yeah.
Oh, that 4.28. I still think he's a late rounder.
Not 4.28. He ran a 4.39. I thought.
4.27.
It was a
what? It was a 4.27.
Oh shoot, I was wrong. 4.27 he ran?
He ran a 4.27. That's why I said that. He ran a 4.2. I still think I still don't think
only one guy ran faster than him, and that was Brendan Thomas out of Mississippi State, who had a 4.26.
Holy shit. I'm telling you, bro, there was so many fast demons in this game or this combine. It wasn't even funny.
You see, was it? I believe it's Trey Lance's brother. What, Bryce Lance?
Yeah, Bryce Lance.
Dude, that kid booking it too.
I didn't see him. I'll have to check that out.
I think his film's still going to hurt him, Ollie, because I think you're absolutely correct. There is no film. I think he had, started 2 games or something last year for you guys? Or
I want to say it was more than 2 games. I want to say he played like 3 or 4 games, but he did play in games as like coming in, for people and stuff. My issue with Lorenzo is there's sometimes when he's on it. But then there's times where I kind of feel like he's not consistent. And you know what I mean? Like he's not at safety. I'm sorry. The guy I'm going to talk about next is a much better like prospect overall. I think he's the best safety in this draft, but there's a lot of news behind him and we got to talk about it. Caleb Downs. All right. Caleb Downs going into the combine was arguably one of the best prospects according to all the experts. I want to say in 2 different Mel Kiper drafts or whatever mock drafts that he did, he actually had a Caleb Downs at number 5 at one point. I want to say he raised them up to number 2 to the Jets at one point. All right. But news broke out, and I want to say it was 2 nights ago, maybe 3. Where news broke out that he had a partially torn meniscus. And that's why he didn't work out at the draft or at the combine. I'm sorry. Then the next day there was, all these different rumors coming out that, he has a degenerative knee and he has knee issues and everything. And, people are starting to be really down on Caleb Downs and whatnot. Then today, there's news all over the place that I guess like a whole team of different experts and doctors and everything reviewed his medical and have said that they have no concerns about his medical whatsoever. And then there's a report going out today that a bunch of NFL execs and GMs and different front offices looked at it and said that they would definitely be cool with it and love to have him on their team. So which is it? Does he have problems or does he not have problems? Do they want to draft him top 10 or not? Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I still think he's a top 10 pick. Will he be top 5? I don't know at this point. Because part of me kind of feels like, well, part of me kind of wonders, why did this information come out? Why didn't it come out before? Right? I guess they do the medicals at the combine, so I get why it didn't come out necessarily, well beforehand. But it was just kind of weird timing of things. And for me, I think one of two things. Either it's true, actually one of three things. Either it's true and he has issues, but maybe the teams just don't care, or the doctors don't care. They say it's not a big deal. Or somebody or certain teams leaked stuff out that may not be true, so he could slide to them because they really want the player more than anything. We've seen that happen before. Laramie Tunzel, for example, it wasn't even a team. It was his stepfather that released information, and look how he slid. You know what I mean? To us, technically. Or last but not least, which is possible, we've seen players do this. In fact, Steve's going to name off some other players that did this in this combine. Did Caleb Downs really not want to be a Jet, or didn't want to go to some of these other teams and purposely hurt his stock? I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to answer it. No, because he's not that type of person. He's a real competitor. If he's that good, he has nothing to be afraid of. Why would you purposely hurt your stock? And you play for who you play for. You don't have a choice on who drafts you, right? So I'm going to say no to that. But Steve, what do you think? I know you said there's some other players did similar things. If it's true, what do you think?
Well, as Dolphin fans, we know of one player who did it in Laramie Tunsil. I still believe that it was his people who put out the gas mask. But specifically in this draft, and I get the competitor thing, but as a competitor, wouldn't you want to be on a better team? Wouldn't you want to put yourself in a position to be on a team that has a better chance of competing and winning the thing that pretty much every kid who has ever wanted to make it to the league wants to do, and that's win a Super Bowl? I think that's what Mekhi Lemon did. There's videos coming out now that, they were being told to run at 3/4 speed, and this kid's power walking through his sets.
That's true. I'll give it to you. What do you think, Mystic?
When it comes to the down situation, man, classic case of, I just feel like people want the dude to fall. I mean, we think about what happened to Tunzel in the past, and we think about all these other, whether it be not necessarily injury history, but doing things off the field, or, trying to throw shame on one's character, whatever it is. It's just, it's that propaganda before the draft, man. It's kind of what you want to put into it. I feel like there's conflicting reports. We have, he has all these problems, and then I read reports saying NFL owners and executives aren't more concerned about it, and if he's on the board, they're taking him. So it's like, if he's there, man, I'm not going to be mad at all if we take the kid. Like, I'm all for it at this point. Him and Sonny Styles, and I'm ready to get one of those guys. So I'm cool either way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm cool with it, to be honest, but not just to our team, but I'm talking about in general. I don't know. It's just really. It's really weird how some of this information gets leaked out and gets sent out. Why I kind of think it could be. Have we heard anything? I mean, Steve, have we heard anything from Downs' camp at all?
No, nothing official.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. He hasn't said a word. If it was really a thing, you'd be like, yeah, I'm not worried. I'm ready. I can compete, blah, 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 blah. Then, okay. Then it wasn't him that said it. That's what makes me kind of think, did his team do this? Or did did somebody do this to help him not be one of those teams that he doesn't want to go to? I mean, the Jets, for example, does he really want to be a Jet? Does anyone really want to be a Jet, to be honest? I hate to hate on the Jets. No, I don't hate to hate on the Jets. I love hating the Jets. But the point is that it's sad that we have to make kind of like a joke out of it, like who wants to be a Jet. But for me, it makes sense to what they want to do over there. So it's something. All right. Let's keep this moving on. I didn't want to talk too much about the down situation because I still want to see how he responds back. But biggest risers, for me, it has to be the wide receivers, right? Benson Thomas, wide receiver at Mississippi State. What's his name? Deion Burks, Oklahoma wide receiver. He ran like what, a 4.3? And then you had Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama, and even Jeff Caldwell, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati. What do you guys think of those prospects? Was there anybody that jumped out at you at the wide receiver position? I have one, but I'm going to wait to bring him up. Go ahead and tell me what you guys thought about the wide receivers.
I think Chris Brazzell helped himself a lot.
I agree with that. What do you think?
I believe it's LSU, correct?
Say it again.
I said he's from LSU, correct? Off the top of my head.
I cannot remember, to be honest. I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm not necessarily gonna. I don't want to steal your thunder. I'm just gonna make a comment just about the guys in general. I just noticed that there were definitely there's some athletic guys, but there was a handful of guys going through certain drills that it just looked like it was like a walkthrough tutorial to them. Like they made it look like it was nothing, low effort. And I'm thinking the guy you're going to say is one of those guys. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And, I'm not going to steal your thunder.
Were you intending that in a good way or a bad way?
A very good way.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. The guy that I shouted his name out when we were talking about wide receivers in the last episode. Jacoby Lane. Jacoby Lane, in my opinion, had one of the smoothest drills, especially in the catching drill that I seen. He was running super fast, looked very low effort, catching balls like it was nothing. Yeah, I'm on that Jacoby Lane train right now. So that, I mean, a lot of my receivers that I mentioned did very well. Jacoby Lane did very well. The other guy from Arizona, what's his name? Tyson. What was his name?
Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, he was the guy that I was kind of interested in, but we didn't really get to see too much out of him. So unfortunately, because he has like an injury or something.
Yeah, he's coming off an injury this season.
Yeah, but I heard a lot of people are still really high on him. Who else? There was somebody else.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify too. So Chris Brazzell's from Tennessee, 6'4", 198, ran a 4.37. Like the kid's like lightning at that build with consistent hands. And like he just confirmed what a lot of people thought, because like he was high on a lot of people's boards. Maybe like the end of the first, top of the second, he may have moved up a little bit. Like especially with Jordan Tyson not really performing. Did Tate do any of the drills outside of the 40? I can't remember.
Who was it?
Cordell Tate. Did he end up doing any of the drills outside the 40?
I will tell you in 1 second. I wasn't impressed with his 40. He looks faster on the field than he did in his 40, to be honest.
Yeah. I figured a 4.5, 4.4, high 4.4, low 4.5, and that's about what he ran.
Yeah. No, I didn't see anything else that was noted for him. I think it was just the 40 he ran. He measured 6'2" and a quarter, 192 pounds. He has 31 and we'll just say 32-inch arms almost. Hands 10 inches and a quarter. His official 40 is a 4.53. But I've seen him in, on the field running 4.45s, 4.47s, and 10-yard splits of 1.61 seconds. So yeah, I wasn't really that impressed with him there. A lot of people are still high on. I just don't understand Carnell Tate. I get it. He is good. He is tall size, wide body type guy. Goes up and gets the contested catches. He has good route running, but I don't know. People taking him as the number one wide receiver is hard for me. I would say he has some talent that he should definitely be a number one pick, but number one receiver off the board, I don't know. I like some of the other guys we've brought up. What's his name? Benson, the guy from Washington. You know who I'm talking about? Either of you? Maybe not.
Talking about Denzel Boston?
Boston. That's what I was thinking of.
I was gonna say Benson.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know of Benson, but I think Boston.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
My bad.
No, 6'4", 212. I mean, yeah.
I actually was going to ask y'all about that. How did y'all feel about him only having a 35-inch vertical and running a 4.5? Because his thing is his 50-50 ball.
Mm-hmm.
And like the vert's not there, the shuttle's not great, the 40's kind of slow. Like the film shows it, so like that's going to save him and keep him where he's at. But like, man, he didn't look great. He did well in the drills, but that 40, I think, and that hurt him.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, for people that don't know at home, I have only maybe gotten 3 hours of sleep since Friday, and that's not a joke. I got woken up about 2:30 in the morning on Saturday, and I didn't go to bed till I want to say it was like 11 o'clock or something like that at night, and I have not really slept at all. And it's not for bad stuff. It's actually really good stuff, but I'm sorry if I messed that name up. I've been tired. You can see it in my eyes. Speaking of wide receivers, let me find it real quick. There was somebody else I thought I had listed here.
I need to obviously look up his numbers and all that, but a guy that I was like, again, I think I talked about him or wanted to talk about him. I don't know. There was just something about the guy. There was something about the guy that I was like, I really like this kid. And then to see kind of some of the things that he deals with, and he still puts in the work to try to be, the best version of himself.
Shout out to Joe Rist. He's using his as membership of TFTG. We don't have memberships yet. Soon, hopefully, but not yet. He says, I'm going to send Fernando Mendoza a gas mask.
Oh, hey.
I will put in money for that, to be honest.
Casey Concepcion.
Okay. Tell me about him.
Yeah.
I'm all in on the guy. And don't be one of those people that makes fun of people because they talk different and you just, you just don't understand. Unless you really understand somebody, don't speak on their life and then the things that they deal with. I really hate to see that, and people give the kid a hard time for having a speech impediment and things like that and stuttering and like, I don't care, dude.
That's who we were talking about. Okay, the guy that had the speech impediment, bro.
Yes.
He looked really clean in all of his drills. I don't know why people are like, look. I got to get this. I got to say this real quick, right? Because even Arbel Reese, for example, I had people telling me, oh, he doesn't sound very professional or as clean spoken as like a Sonny Styles or a Caleb Downs, for example. Look, some people, they train all their life to have that speaking voice. Even myself, I'm not the best public speaker, but I do this enough that I got practice in. he may not be the best speaker, but is speaking what really shows his production on the field? Is speaking what wins you games? Is the speaking make the sack on the quarterback? Does speaking stop the run? Or does it stop the pass coverage? Or does it throw the pass or scores the touchdown or the field goal? No, it doesn't. It's what you do on the field that makes the difference in the game. It's what you do in the gym or what you do at practice that makes the game. I really could care less if he, could say, pronounce my name correctly, or I could care less if he could pronounce anyone's name, or I could, like, for example, when we drafted Tua Tagovailoa, it took me a while to understand how to say his name, right? If I'm Tua Tagovailoa, if this guy's a winner on the field, I could give two shits if he calls me Tua, TT. I don't care what he calls me, right? I don't care how he talks. So enough with that kind of stuff. For me, it's this. Some people have speech impediments, but they have a wealth of experience and wealth of ability to go overcome those things and become very, very productive in life. Famous people, I'll give you some. Most recently, Joe Biden may not, for some of you may think that's not the best president in the world, but he still became president of the United States. He has a speech impediment, right? You look at who's the guy that owns X? Elon Musk. Elon Musk has a speech problem. Not a lot of people know that, right? My point is that there's a lot of people out there that may have these types of issues, but they find ways to overcome them. And that's what makes them special. This guy looks really good in the catching drill. He looks super fast and clean. For me, I'm okay. I could care less if he has a speech impediment. As long as he can understand my coaching, if I'm his coach, and if he can understand what I'm putting down, that's all I ask. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Sorry if I went on a rant. Go ahead.
Nope, you're good, dude. I agree.
Anyway, so yeah, wide receivers, super fast. There was a lot of them. Some of the guys that I mentioned did very well. Overall, I thought the whole class is going to be really interesting. I do expect even our team, the Dolphins, to draft a wide receiver. The question is, will they do it early, or will we get lucky and find someone special in the third round? There's enough of them. I think we could wait to the third round, to be honest.
100%. Since you say that, I just want to throw in my little thought of the day on this is I really feel like it's going to be hard to, I hate to say miss, but I feel like the rounds 1 through 4, I feel like maybe even 5 is just going to be such good talent. I feel like usually you get rounds 1 and 2, you're like, man, these guys are really, separating themselves. I feel like there's a lot of guys 1 through 4 that you're going to be like, man, this guy's going to do something day one.
Definitely. I think there's a couple of them out there. It's going to be really, I was right. Benson. There is a Benson. You guys were wrong. I wasn't. It wasn't the guy. I was thinking of Boston, but there is Malik Benson who plays for Oregon. He's a wide receiver.
Oh, okay. Well, that's Oregon. What you got to throw Yep. You're good.
And he actually ran a 4.37. So
yeah, you said Washington because Boston was out of Washington. So yes, you were talking about Oregon.
That's who I meant to say, Boston. But Malik Benson was the guy I was looking at also. Look, the one thing I'll say, I'm looking at the top, the fastest 40 from wide receivers, which was a 4.26, right? Anywhere from 4.26 down to a 4.4. I consider that to be fast. Any of those guys would be, I would take any single one of them. As long as you have good hands and you're a hands catcher, because I don't like body catchers. I like hands catchers. Yeah, go get me one of those guys. I think we're going to be fine.
Do you think CJ Daniels helped himself running a 4.4?
I don't know. Maybe. CJ Daniels, to his credit, though, he is a really good hands catcher. You know what I mean? He had that famous one against Notre Dame where he caught it back here, falling into the end zone. He's had quite a few of those. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think guys like Boston, the guy out of Arizona, for example, I think those guys are going to go first. Malachi Lemon, possibly. I don't know. I don't know where I sit with CJ Daniels yet. So we'll see. Let's go on to another position though, because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about here. Tight ends. Kenyon Sadiq, yes. Right? The guy out of Oregon. 6'3", 241 pounds, runs a 4.39. So I think that's record for tight ends per sources. I think that's a record, right?
Yes.
He had a 43.5 vertical, just like Sonny Styles. 11. In fact, Sonny Styles had a bigger broad jump, but it's still pretty big. 11 foot 1 inch. On the bench, he put it up 26 times. Yeah, I'll take Kenyon Sadiq. Who else?
You know who else stood out?
Who?
Eli
I gotta
Stowers.
give you your. Well, yes, but I gotta give Ali his props on this Stanford tight end. Roush looked really good.
Told you. I knew he would do good. I'll even give myself another shout out. No, I didn't look at his 40. Actually, here, let me look at his 40 real quick. This other guy, because the other guy I was thinking of actually looked pretty decent. Let me pull up his info.
While you pull that up,
Yeah, go ahead.
you want to talk about Stowers?
Yeah, I mean, didn't the dude like break the record for what? Was it the broad jump for tight ends all time or something?
The vert and the broad jump were both in the 100th percentile.
This dude's vert. Okay, wait. So he's 6'4", 239. Okay, 32 and 5/8 arms. Had a 45.5 vertical jump and a broad jump of 11.3. So I don't know. I mean, man's got some ups.
Yeah. This guy didn't have the fastest 40, but I want to say like people were saying they were impressed with his footwork. Will Kazmarek, the tight end from Ohio State. I mentioned him as a honorable mention. And then the other tight end that I was trying to find, I heard people are impressed with Max Clare, though. I have to watch, if he did anything at the combine and, what's going on with him. Because I didn't see his name listed on the combine stuff I was looking at here. Any other thoughts on tight ends?
Yeah, I was going to talk about Eli Stowers too, because the one thing he also ran was a 4.5 40.
Yep.
So he's got the vertical jumps, he's got the broad jump, he's got the 40. He ran a 1.59 10-yard split. So he has decent height. He's like the average tight end height. He's I think okay at 239. I think he's strong enough. But he had a very good combine. The dude, there's something there, and he was talked about a lot going into the combine. I think he turned out to be a little faster and than I thought he was gonna be, but he showed out pretty nice. Also, shout out to Jack Injuries too. Ran a 4.6 40 with a 36-inch vert, and had a 1.59 10-yard split. Like we have some athletes here, guys, and we kind of talked about that before the combine, right? Like this was a lot of athletes, not the greatest blockers, but a lot of athletes. If you're looking for that seam threat tight end, he's going to be in this draft somewhere.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. There was a lot of a lot of athletes for sure. Not just in tight end, not just in wide receiver, but overall, even on the defensive side, even linebackers galore. There's a lot of talent. Very impressed so far. DBs. I want to talk about defensive backs. The safety out of Oregon, Dylan Thieneman.
Yes, Thieneman.
Sorry if I didn't say that correctly. He's 6 foot 201, runs a 4.3 at a 1.5 split, 41-inch vertical, 10.5 broad jump, and 18 on the bench. What do you guys think? First round?
You literally stole my thunder on that. I wasn't trying to steal your thunder, but you stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
No, you're you're fine. No, I think this might be a guy to watch. I really do. And I don't just say that for ourselves. I just mean when he hits the league. This is a guy that I think we watch because you turn the tape on and you see why you got the numbers you got at the combine because the play matches the numbers. This kid, and I think it's an IQ thing too. Very high IQ, can just read, react, and go.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. I had clicked on something. I didn't know there was going to be audio. Apologize.
No, you're good, man.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, this is a guy definitely to watch. I'm excited for him. I started watching some tape on it, and I'm like, yo, this might be a steal type of guy. Like, I don't know, a second, third round type of guy. If he falls to that, I'd grab him in a heartbeat.
Then there was Tacario Davis, the corner out of Washington, 6'3". I love myself taller corners. I like taller corners. Give me a 6'3", 6'4" kind of guy. Weighs 194 pounds, runs a 4.41, had a 37-inch vertical, 10.3 on the broad. That's all the information they give me for him. The height and length plus adequate speed. I think I think he's a safety with cornerback traits. What do you guys think?
I agree. He looks smooth, ran well. You can't like the athleticism's there.
Definitely.
Who stuck out to me though? Torino Pride Jr. from Mizzou. 4'3", 240. He's short, but I think you could play him as your like nickel slot at 5'10", 185. But like he's smart, he's athletic. He stood out there in the combine. He's very smooth.
Absolutely.
I talked about, if I remember correctly, this Colton Hood guy. Excuse me. I mean, he at 4'4", 40-inch vert. Like, I mean, looks good. Looks good and is young. He's coming out as a sophomore. So definitely a young kid to watch. A lot of talent. Maybe one of those, maybe a little raw around the edges, but again, young enough that, you got enough talent with the kid. You can develop what you need for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Overall, I think the whole there's again, this is one of those positions that I think there's a lot of different talent in this. There's a guy out of Duke, I want to say Chandler Rivers, that I was kind of impressed with. Yes. He had a 4.40 as well. It's really interesting. The Andre Fuller, that's another guy out of Toledo. A shout out to him. Overall, even Avery Smith, another Toledo guy as well.
What do you think about this Chris Johnson who's being mocked to Miami?
So I'm not happy with that. Not because anything with Chris Johnson. It's just I'd rather take the LSU guy more. I'd rather have him, to be honest. Chris Johnson, he has verified speed and explosion plays at premium position, which basically means he's explosive, right? Kid out of San Diego State. He's runs a 4.40, 1.5 split, 38-inch vertical, 10-foot 6-inch broad jump, and did 17 on the bench. The only question I have on Chris Johnson is his height, which I'm looking at right now.
6 foot.
6 foot. Okay.
6 foot 193.
I don't hate it. Like I prefer taller, but I don't hate this, to be honest. He also had a good 79 for next gen stats, to be honest. So
yeah, I keep seeing that. I'm just kind of doing some research on him when we were talking about it. I wanted to bring him up.
Yeah, I don't hate it, to be honest. But go ahead. Go ahead.
I was say, to steal a phrase, to Will Lee with his 42-inch vertical, fast enough and has the hops to go with his 6'2" height, showed out during the combine. And so did somebody that I told y'all he was a top prospect going into the draft last year as a player for this year's draft, and everybody seemed to forget about him. But boy, did he pop back up during the combine. Jalen Kilgore, 6'1", 210 pounds, ran a 4.4 flat 40, had the vert, had the broad, had a decent bench, 16 reps. Like, this kid can play corner, he can play safety, he can play nickel, he can play boundary. Like, he showed his athleticism, he showed his quick twitch and redirection. Like, there's a reason I fell in love with these two kids during my watching of these positions. They're going to be some nice players in the league. I'm warning y'all.
Absolutely. I kind of want to move. What the heck is going on again? Sorry about that. What I want to kind of move on a little bit from the corners. I want to move into the defensive line and edge, because there was some disappointments as well as big risers. For a big riser, and this is one of the biggest ones, Danny Dennis Sutton out of Penn State ran a 4.63, 39.5 vertical, 10-foot 11-inch broad, and had a 6.9 second three cone, right? Explosive testing reinforces the pass rush upside. That's the big thing for him. This is kind of surprising a little bit, especially how poorly Penn State performed later in the season and everything. I'm kind of glad. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just saying, but wouldn't that go right into what we have said on this show about the talent that was on that team and that the coach couldn't maximize the talent?
Absolutely. And that's going to go into a quarterback that we're going to talk about later on as well. I want to talk about that. I know we're on the risers. We've been talking about everybody that's been rising, but I kind of want to jump into the divers. I call it, because this guy has fallen. In my opinion, he had one of the not so amazing combines. I know Steve's like, it's better you than me saying it. Let me find it here. Biggest fallers, right? I just did a random search for biggest fallers to see who they would come up with. And AI says the biggest faller at the combine was Ruben Bain out of Miami, who measured 30, about 30 and 7/8 inch arms, flagged as historically short versus edge thresholds. What changed? Some teams will start grading him as a role usage player rather than a universal top edge player.
Wow.
Think of that. That was kind of interesting. I know the joke about him was he had these short ass arms, right? But they're saying he's just undersized for the position too. What do you guys think?
I think he's still going to be a top 15 player.
Still?
No. Yeah. You know who, and I'll say it after, I can talk about it in a little bit, but I think Akeem Mesidor's tag team partner also hurt himself by not performing. But Bain is it's one of those things of like you see he's small for the position. The he's okay on height. He can use some more height, but his arms came in, and there's some debate over what his arm length actually is.
Mm.
The official did not match a report that came out by, I believe, Schefter or Rappaport. One of the two reported that there's some people were getting 32-inch arms. So I don't know what his actual arm length came out to. It could have been, the media trying to save him or whatever. But Bane, he's film. It's on the film. Like the question with short arms is, do you finish? And I think during the playoffs, he proved that he can finish on those plays. Like I'm not as concerned because that was my concern during the year. Like we all talked about this on here and spaces on Twitter. Like Bane's question for me was he going to start finishing when it mattered? And he started showing up when it mattered. Rather, he was generating the sacks himself or he was pushing them into Mesidor.
So my only pushback about that is we're moving from college to the professional NFL, right? The NFL. And in the NFL, the offensive linemen are bigger. Running backs, even though their running backs can be bigger too, right? Overall, every position technically you see players get bigger and bigger. I just think and the game's much faster too. Can that make a difference when it comes to his short arms? Like, can he make up that difference somehow? Or because I'll tell you what, I've watched the same tapes you have, right, Steve? And there are times where he does look that good. And then there are times where I have to beg him to at least make one tackle in the game. Right. And for me, that's kind of concerning. So that brings up other questions. Is his size really that much of an issue? People say that, we'll speak of our team since we know a lot about it. People say that Chop Robinson is undersized for edge. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, it's true.
I mean, yeah, and production shows.
Yeah, and if this guy is smaller for what the standard size is or standard threshold, as that they're saying, is that a concern? I would say it's a concern for any team.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how that goes for sure. I mean, if he's, I was surprised that a lot of those guys didn't actually perform to, increase their stock, but I guess what do I know, right?
Yeah, it is what it is. Let's switch position groups real quick. I'll jump out of the divers and go back to the risers. Offensive linemen.
Yes.
I'll give this guy a shout out real quick. I want the first one because I mentioned this guy. 6'5", 7/8, 321 pounds. Ran a 4.9, 140, 1.73 split, 30.5 vertical. Max Einenker, the offensive tackle out of Arizona State.
Yep.
What matters is now because a 321-pound tackle running a sub 4.9 is now you climb into the round one conversation. So now this guy's like, this guy could definitely be a first rounder at this point with that performance. Look, I'm very impressed with this guy. I like him. It'll be very interesting where he goes. I know you have a plethora of guys to talk about Mystics, so go ahead with your guy.
No, yeah, I mean, all three of the guys that were on my list that I wanted to talk about, I mean, in my opinion, had really good combines, all looked great, look like they're going to be just, I mean, honestly, they're going to look great, and wherever the hell they land, they're going to be bona fide starters.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that I didn't get to talk about enough, so I'm pretty sure when I had looked him up, they had him at like 6'5". He measured out at 6'7", 317, 34 and a quarter arms, almost 10-inch hands. That Blake Miller that people were saying was going to be a long-term right tackle, ran a 5.04 40, 32-inch vert, 9.5 broad, and had 32 bench reps. He actually rated out as one of the best athletes for O linemen. And I'm like, holy moly, dude! Like, I wasn't expecting him to pop up like that, but yeah, there's a lot of people pegging this guy as a long-term right tackle for people. And I mean, hey, if we're looking to get rid of Austin Jackson, I think we just found our guy. I'm just saying. Oh,
Yeah, definitely. Look,
Steve wants to talk about any other Thunder, you know?
go ahead. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was gonna shout out the two tackles because I think they both performed well. But I just getting out of the top guys, Jalen Farmer actually performed really well. I don't know if anybody paid attention.
It's saying no, it's saying sorry, Ollie. What about Logan Jones?
Every time I find something cool, I got to figure out how to mute it. My bad, bro. I need to.
No, you're good. Another one.
I was just gonna say real quick. Jalen Farmer actually performed really well. He ran a 4.940. Had a pretty damn decent broad jump. Had a nice 10-yard split. 34.25-inch arms. Like the athlete that we saw on film definitely translated to the combine. 6'5", 312. Out of Kentucky, like he might be a nice guard in the league.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where Logan Jones is going to fall. Had the fastest 40 time out of fastest 40 time out of all the linemen, 4.9. Yeah. It's very curious to see where he is. 6'3", 299, 30 and a 3/4 inch arms. You're dying. Oh my goodness.
Who was the guy? Dunker had the hair, right? That everyone was talking about.
Yes.
On my Twitter.
The mullet with the most. Oh,
it was funny.
How did you feel about his push off and climb drill?
So that was the thing. I didn't get to watch a whole lot of the drills like I needed to for him. I saw some highlights and such. I heard some people say they were concerned at times with some things. I think that's why, in my opinion, I think he needs to be a guard. I don't think you put him out at tackle. I think if you put him at guard and let him grow within what he needs to be, I think at 6'5", 320 with those 10-inch hands and 33.5-inch arms, I think you can absolutely get that figured out. I think his back and forth, the shiftiness you get, he has the low center of gravity that you want. I think I heard some people say they're concerned with the anchor and things at times. Again, I think that's something you can fix. I mean, this is one of those guys that, which is funny because they were saying that about Bayou Stevens coming in, that they were concerned about his anchor. And I didn't really hear anything bad about Bayou in this combine either, if we're being honest. So Jennings, yeah, it looks like Jennings is going to have that up and down thing. But hey, man, Jennings falls in the third round. Cool, dude. I'm there. I'm running to the podium at the third round.
Yeah, definitely. Another interesting thing. What do you think about this? Some people are saying that the guy out of Utah, Spencer Fanu, because of his measurements, he's more of a guard. What do you think about that?
Oh, wow. I did not know that was what was being talked about. That would change some stuff for sure.
Yeah.
They're saying Spencer Fano, they're saying is a guard.
Yeah.
That's been a conversation about the top tackles in this draft. And it was that way last year. I don't know if y'all remember or not. Last year, the same conversations happened that the guards' arms are shorter than desirable, so they try to push everybody to guard. But I don't know if you saw what Fano said. He's like, I don't care where you put me. He took snaps at center. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. He was taking reps at center at the combine because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see that, but that's really interesting. But yeah, that's what they're saying, that Spencer Fanu could be thrown inside rather than being a tackle. So that's kind of interesting. Some other divers, if you want to call it. And actually, real quick, I don't know if you Yeah, you already brought him up. Never mind. I was going to talk about somebody, but you already brought him up. Another diver, Cassius Howell, the edge out of Texas A&M. The arm measurement is the headline, basically. I guess he had way shorter arms than expected. 30 and a quarter arms, even shorter than short. So want to point that out.
I don't think he
else?
performed well during the drills either, personally.
Yeah, I don't think he did. Lee Hunter disappointed me, bro. He disappointed me, but I think he can make it up in his pro day. Essentially, from what I understand, people are saying that he had a rough get off. Essentially, like when he goes to take off, it's not very fast or fluid. On tape, it looks more smoother, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see what he does in the at his pro day and see if it improves.
You know what concerned me about Hunter?
What's up?
He reminded me a lot of Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
In terms of, I don't think he was taking the combine as serious as I would have liked him to. He was joking around a lot, playing around, laughing and giggling. Like, there's nothing wrong with being, having fun. That's the whole point. But I don't think he was taking it as serious.
My computer doesn't like you, Steve. I've realized it's every single time you're talking.
Wait, what happened?
Every time you go to talk, Steve Eisman's voice starts popping up. I don't know if you activate it or something. I don't know what it is. So I'm sorry about that.
That's too funny.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve. I didn't mean to interrupt you, man. Go ahead.
No, I was done. It's just, I think he played around way too much and didn't take it as serious as I think he should have.
I agree. Any surprises out of anybody? Not just falling, but just overall, like, wow, I didn't expect that.
I mean, I guess just overall to kind of always at the beginning with this draft class, I think it just kind of wowed me how many overall just true athletes are in this draft. There might not be, you might not say, okay, this guy might not be a day one starter or whatever, but there's some freak athletes. There's some absolute freak athletes. Seeing some of the speed that these guys have and their, ability to jump and things like that. Like, holy moly. Talk about, modern medicine, training and all that going to the next level and these guys just getting faster and bigger every year. Like, it's crazy, man.
You know who surprised me? Since we talked about somebody who else is on his offensive line or on his defensive line, sorry, Zane Durant out of Penn State ran a 4.7 640. He's a little short at 6'1", but I mean, he's just gonna have the leverage battle, right? But the dude had a 33-inch vertical too, so he can get up there and deflect passes. Like when they were running the actual attack drills where it was a sidestep, chop, spin, move, hit the corner, bend, and tackle, he was killing it. Like, he was smooth. His spin was nice. He stayed in line. That kid, I think, definitely showed out more. Like, he was not somebody I was looking for as a 3-tech at 6'1", but he definitely showed me, listen, I'm gonna have to take a second look at this kid.
Interesting. Real quick, shout out, and I always give University of Toledo a shout out. Okay, Manuel McNeil Warren. Granted, he didn't have the fastest 40 for safety. He ran a 4.52 with a 1.5 a 10-yard split. And he had a 35.5 vertical jump with a 10-foot 2-inch broad jump. That's all he did. He didn't do anything else. He still finished with an overall 81 for his next gen stats, which finishes 4th overall at the combine. Right? When it comes to safeties, that was a safety rank, 4th overall. I would definitely take this guy to day two, 3rd round. Take him if he's there. Even that in a second, if we really need a safety, we find that to be the biggest need. I would take him all, for sure. We saw the tape. The guy's a hard hitter. To give you some of his strengths to remind people that didn't get to watch that episode, he's tall, long-limbed, rangy, and as a down safety, adequate eye balance, anticipation skills, triggers to action, frequently delivers strikes on passes, size and toughness, not afraid to stop the run, tackles clean, one of the hardest hitters, peanut punch. He has the peanut punch ability, no problem. What else can I say? Uses his expansive tackle radius to run and capture in space. I like this kid, bro. I like him. Overall, I think he had just running the 40 and his measurements and what he was able to complete. I think overall it was clean and a good performance. It will be interesting to see what he does at his pro day, like doing the cone drills and the bench and all that stuff. We'll see. But overall, I liked what I saw.
Not just shout out to Toledo, but shout out to Lakewood High. If you know, you know.
Oh yeah, he's the Florida guy. I almost forgot. Thank you for reminding me. What is he from, like St. Petersburg or something like that?
Yeah, he's from St. Petersburg. They'll say Tampa, but if you know, you know.
Yeah, there you go. So I will give him a shout out. That was one of my guys. I do think he'll end up being just as a safety prospect. I could see him being the fourth safety taken off the board, maybe third, possibly. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, what else you got? You guys have anything else?
No, I think I'm good, man.
He is good. Wow. That was a quick episode. Let's get to the bottom. $42 people watching across all social media, right? On X, YouTube, and others. So make sure you come over to the YouTube side, come over to @4th and 10U, follow us there, hit the like button, subscribe if you're brand new. And we're trying to build this community. The sooner we get to 100 or more followers, we're going to start giving giveaways for people that like to collect trading cards, those football cards that everyone loves. We're going to be giving out some really cool stuff. So be on the lookout for that. The combine, gentlemen, we already said it was one of the most athletic, talented combines that we've seen over the ages. I was excited to see the speed, the receivers. It kind of turned out the way I thought it would for the most part. I want to say the biggest thing for me was Sonny Styles and have an amazing performance. Like I said, I think he's good enough to be a top 5 draft pick. If he's there at 11, I'm going to take him all day. So that's where I'm at. What do you think, Steve? What are your final thoughts on this combine?
I just wanted, because we didn't quite get the chance to get to it, but shout out to Taylon Green and becoming the second fastest quarterback 40 since Michael Vick. And
That is
just shattering every quarterback combine ever. Like, you talk about a kid who's probably going to surprise some people in prospect. But this class, like we said, I said it earlier, like we said this with athletes, and it was a lot of athletes, and it showed in the combine. Every single unit on average was the fastest in NFL history, at least since 2003, I believe. But I do believe it was in NFL history. It ended up coming out that every single position shattered. Even kids that like nobody was talking about before. And that's why I love the combine. You find kids that nobody was talking about that you can now go and like, oh, I didn't even know there was a thing. Let me go see what that is, because again, nobody knows every prospect. That's just not reality.
I wasn't going to talk about quarterbacks because I figured our next show we can talk about quarterbacks. We can make a whole show of it. Because I do have thoughts on a certain quarterback from a team that didn't do so well this year. As you already know, I talked to you about it. I'll even go and give him a shout out to him. Drew Aller surprised me with his arm talent on how smooth he looked throwing the ball. He made throwing down the field like deep throws, right? Making it super easy. There was 2 or 3 misses that he had deep, but it wasn't anything he did. It was the wide receiver just wasn't fast enough to get there, even though he had his hands on it. He should really catch it, to be honest. Overall, I think he had a solid performance throwing the ball. I want to see more of it. I want to see, what else I can find out about Drew Aller. He's a guy that a team looking in the 2nd or 3rd round, I think they could go after him and maybe come away with a steal possibly. Taylor Green, definitely good, athletic. I know you said that you think maybe somebody is going to do something like Milrow in the 2nd round. I'm going to argue that I think someone could grab him in the late 1st. That's what I'm going to argue. But I do want to talk about that in the next episode. So shout out to the quarterbacks. What about you, Mystic? What did you have?
Again, I haven't really been too, deep diving in depth in the recent drafts, but I've taken time to look into this specific draft class and see just kind of overall what they are and just the athletes there are. Like I said, that times past you have those projects that people are like, man, it's going to take this long to do this or whatever. I think you got some really athletic guys that you're going to be very surprised how fast they hit the field running. I'm super excited to see kind of how the draft's going to shake up. Like I said, I really feel like the rounds 1 through 4, you're going to be able to find some of that really top tier talent that, can hit the field, day 1 type stuff. So really curious to see how the rest of this kind of pans out and getting closer into, rolling into the next year, right? And you're muted.
I'm sorry. I was definitely how it's going to roll into next year. I definitely agree with you. Anthony Misano, what's up, dude? Wants me to read his comment. Let me see this. How did the bigger corners like Iggy, Julian Neal, or Takeru Davis and Charles Demings perform at the combine? Well, I already mentioned Takeru Davis. I said he was one of the better performers. The bigger guys that I thought specifically Takeru Davis, I thought his height, length, his speed and everything overall, I think he's definitely has the traits to either be a safety or a corner. He's more of a safety with corner traits. So definitely I thought overall he did pretty well. So shout out to you, Anthony. Hope all is well. Any other final thoughts, gentlemen, before we shut it down?
No, sir, I'm good. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and taking your time.
Everybody, make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you're brand new. Next week, we'll talk about quarterbacks, and then we're going to set up from some quick takes on the offseason, and then we're going to be on the road to the draft. We'll be talking soon. Everybody hit the like button. We'll see you in the next episode.